Okay. Very good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon session of the third day of the training program. And this is a panel discussion session on brainstorming session on interventions for effective industry-institute partnership. And so for this session, I welcome the experts at our end, Shri Narendra Aluwalia sir, and then Shri Ravinder Singh sir with us. I welcome Dr. Dameja, and I welcome all the nodal centers, all the participants at all the nodal centers and participants at this nodal center also. So first of all, I would like to introduce Shri Narendra sir. Narendra Alvalia sir is presently working as a Chief Operating Officer with Google Pablo Solutions Limited. And Narendra Alvalia sir is a seasoned executive consultant, leader, and a speaker with a wide range of business experience. Mr. Alvalia has worked across a large variety of industries and cultures. He has lived, traveled, and worked in over 15 countries and currently resides in India. Mr. Ahluwalia has a passion for leadership development and effective HR and business processes. Through sharing his experiences in these areas with students, peers, and other professionals, he has sought to encourage and develop others using an engaging and interactive approach to presentations. Mr. Ahluwalia has worked in companies ranging from early stage startups to MNCs, both as an employee and as well as consultant, to name a few. Serpac Software Private Limited, then Asia IT Services, then Dunlop Tires, then Sudarshan Overseas, then Univoc Papers, then Universal Hydrocarbons Limited, then Global Pebble Sourcing. Mr. Ahluwalia's work has taken him all over the world. He is fluent in English, Hindi, Punjabi, as well as spattering of Bangla. Narendra Ahluwalia is the Chief Operating Officer of Global Pebble Sourcing, GP Sourcing Private Limited, a part of our consulting and global service delivery organization, focused on helping its client align their strategy and business processes. Global Pueblo comes alongside its clients with business process optimization and global process delivery services. So I welcome the with such a rich experience for acceding to our request to be part of this panel discussion session. I welcome Ravinder Singh, Managing Director, Mindfield Software Solutions Private Limited, also with us yesterday for a session. So you must be aware of his credentials. Well, then I welcome Dr. S.K. Jameja sir, who is working presently as Dean in Academics and International Affairs with National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, and Professor and Head of Entrepreneurship Development and Industrial Coordination Department. And sir has also been an extensive traveler to different countries in the world on different assignments by the official assignments, and for conducting training programs of CPSC Manila also. Sir has spent a tenure as a resource person at CPSC for 3 years, I suppose, and it was a wonderful experiences. Whenever we discuss in our office together, it is a cherishing one. And now I would like to start with this panel discussion. So I think we have prepared and certain we have based on the presentations on the sure. So before we start with the panel discussion, I would request Narendra Ahluwalia sir to say a few words.
Yeah, it is very encouraging to see that we are today using this approach and technology to reach out to people seated in diverse geographical locations. And although I have seen the campus where we are doing this panel discussion earlier too, but never had a chance to come into the studio and interact with people across. So I would like to say a very hearty good afternoon to everybody who is viewing this program, and also would encourage that we be as interactive as possible. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to teach, so let it be a two-way traffic. And if at all you have any doubts which are still not clear to you, you can feel free to contact me by getting my credentials from the authorities out here. but we will try our best that we should be able to clarify all the questions and doubts that you may have at the present moment. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I request Ravindra sir to say a few words to start with the panel discussion.
A very good afternoon to everybody listening, all across India almost. I've been a part of NITTTR sessions 2 or 3 times in the past also, and as Narendra Ahluwalia ji said that it's very encouraging to see the use of technology. People sitting far away, comfort of their own campuses are actually able to interact with us. So we'll try our best to answer whatever queries you will be asking, and hopefully we'll get some insight from this discussion onto how we as industry people can change our approach towards academics, and maybe we'll be able to give you some tips on what you can do for the betterment of students. So looking forward to all your queries, and we'll try our best to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Now I request Dr. S.K. Dhamidhar sir also to say a few words before we start with this.
Not much. I think the basic objective of this panel discussion is to bring the industry and the institutes, on one platform basically. So we have 2 people from the industry who are very seasoned people, very senior people, and we have the different institutions, right across the country. So the purpose is basically to have a common platform basically. So their expectations, their perceptions about the technical institutions, about the teachers, about the students, they can share with you, and your expectations and your perceptions, about the industry, and you can share with the people from the industry. In case you have any questions, so please feel free to put the questions to the industry people. We are more of a facilitator, me and Amardev, because we are from the academia, and you're also from the academia, so we are merely facilitator only. It is basically interaction between the people from the, the different centers and people from the industry sitting over here. So I think we will have a very lively session, I suppose. We had, I think, 2 sessions on Monday and Tuesday, in which we have taken some of the feedback from the different, institutions regarding their, practices regarding industry-student partnership. So some of the concerns were raised by different institutions. So we can take up those concerns also, one by one, maybe, and we can try to address those questions to the, extent possible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I have made certain points during those presentations. So before we take those points, I feel so. Let us take the participating institutions the questions directly, so that after that we may add upon to these points. So directly, so we move on to the different institutions.
So I think we can take initially. Let us take only 2 questions per institution, and then we can come back. After that. Yes. So let us take 2 per center initially, and then we can come back if the time permits. Yes. Okay, we can go one by one.
You let us know. Okay, NITTTR Bhopal, we start with you.
Well, so first of all, I want to make you know that yesterday the link was lost. We had only 15-minute interaction. And today morning also we just saw 10 or 15 minutes. So we didn't see, there was no link at all. So first of all, we request you honestly to send the soft copy, as if you can email to a study center to Dr. Atul Mishra, so that we can have the study material. Yesterday also the link was lost. Today also the link was lost.
It will be morning presentation. Will be
hello.
Also IPRs and so I hope we will be starting the discussion session now.
So first of all, I would like to ask about the brainstorming, as the second session is about brainstorming. As in schools, we have formative assessment and summative assessment and HOTS, high order thinking skills. Can we introduce the high order thinking skills in technical colleges or universities as well as non-technical? If so, how? How can we involve or introduce brainstorming or HOTS, that is high order thinking skills, in universities or just MSc, BSc, biotechnology programs, and how can we implement this in practical life? Thank you, sir.
They're trying to ask separate from next level of. I would like to go first on this particular point. I feel that technical engineering colleges and MCA courses, they already include a major chunk.
So normally in colleges, lecture is one of the mode of interaction. Then we give some project and practicals. So right. Every student will interact with each other and get. How can we introduce the HOTS or brainstorming in engineering colleges or otherwise non-technical colleges and improve the standard of education and increase the IQ or the thinking skills of the students.
Right. So if I ask for a little bit clarification, you are saying that the lectures which we normally take, teachers normally take in classes, so a part of extra to those lectures, we have tutorials and we have labs also. So I think that to a very large extent, in theory at least, on paper at least, it covers that aspect of having a practical side to the subject. So, but I think Nindaji, if you may correct me if I'm wrong, that these practicals and this lab work is not taken that seriously by institutions or by students or by everybody. As I said yesterday also in my session, that it's more about doing rather than pretending to do. So I think the required framework is in place, right? The syllabus has been structured in a manner to actually have theory and practicals and then seminars and all these things, brainstorming sessions and all. But it depends on how effectively they're actually taken forward by colleges. So my experience with engineering colleges has been quite bad. So every time I see in labs, I don't feel that they're actually taking that part seriously. For them, it's just 2 hours sitting, maybe surfing the internet, doing everything and anything which they want to do. So uh, you think they can do some exercises? I suggested some exercises yesterday in my session. Like I suggested, writing blog articles for teachers to be made mandatory, and they should be writing articles on the kind of problems they solve for students, not just on the theory part. Then I suggested that colleges should shake hand with, let's say, 10 companies for every learning stream, so 10 for mechanical, 10 for civil, and then send their teachers for a week interaction with those companies, so that the teachers can sit there and then bring back that experience and then share with students. So rather than sending students for a couple of hours visit over there. So I suggested a couple of exercises yesterday. So you think you can suggest them something which maybe they can introduce in their campuses?
So I would like to interrupt this because in most of the technical and non-technical colleges or universities, we have the semester system. So the first priority is to complete the syllabus.
Right.
First priority is to complete the syllabus, and the teachers go according to the syllabus. Like we have theory and practicals. Sometimes they may be having the seminars or debate. Group discussion or not. Apart from this, what all things would you suggest to improve the standard of the education and to motivate the students?
Yeah, one of the things that we normally are doing on an everyday basis, we are doing a lot of exercise on critical thinking, because usually we are exposed to an approach of problem solving in our lives. So, but when we have interaction with different institutions, which we do quite regularly, and we encourage different institutions to come to our campus and interact with us, we do a lot of leadership development also. So, as part of the leadership development activities, we encourage people to be able to hone their skills in the area of critical thinking. Once they are able to do that, we find a sea change in their approach, and they report back to us that now when they go and teach the students, they are able to better inculcate the habits that they have picked up, not only for themselves, but in the students also. In addition to that, I also happen to be a Gallup certified coach, and part of my coaching, I do a lot of intervention in these areas, helping the faculty to be able to do this. The basic approach of critical thinking, and also to impose upon them that how we should be more oriented toward the practical aspect of education. While in India, we are extremely good with with the approach of theory being the main mode of teaching. But as you rightly said, ma'am, it is very essential that we also include the practical approach, and that is something which we are doing quite effectively with some universities around our campus.
Hello, sir. One more question. I would like to ask, what is the role of personality development? Because I have seen many students are very academically very smart. They may score good marks, but when it comes to interview or facing the people, they may have the stage fear. So how can we overcome this during the course of the curriculum? Can we include this personality development also in the education system, for example, in engineering colleges or MBA programs or the MSc programs? So I would like to know your suggestions.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you an example which, I think before coming to the studio here for this session, I was in a meeting with the director of Amity University in Chandigarh. And they are using our facilities to impart coaching around strengths to their faculty as well as to their students, which are joining in the batch in the month of August. But for the faculty, the coaching is going to start in the month of May, by the end of May. And the main focus of this kind of coaching is to help each person understand his or her strengths. Now, you may have heard that the SWOT analysis or strength-based ideas are very traditional and old, but there is a difference in this approach out here. While since our childhood, we have been taught to work on our weaknesses so that we can become a well-rounded personality. Now, what I have picked up and in my entire initiative to become a coach in this area is that nobody can be a well-rounded personality. Each one of us is unique and different. Each one of us has certain strengths and certain weaknesses. So I'm cutting the long story short because there's an entire concept behind this, and we can, have a separate discussion on that some other day. The idea here is to help people identify with their strengths, know the kind of personality they are, and then convert those strengths to be successful in what they are aiming to do. So we have noticed that not only this approach helps people to identify the right kind of careers, but if they are in a career and they're not doing well, they are kind of struggling in that area, this entire concept helps them to become more successful by helping them manage the weaknesses that they have on the basis of strengths. I'll just give you a small example. In the University of Nebraska, there was some research done on this, on the concept of speed reading. So two sets of people were like put into a classroom. One set of people, they had a reading speed of about 110 words per minute. Whereas then there was another set of people there who had a speed of 190 words per minute. So after undergoing very similar methodology of teaching them how to become better at reading, at the end of 6 months, it was noticed that the ones who had 110 words per minute as their speed, they had grown to 380 words per minute. But can you imagine the growth that those people had who already had 190 words per minute as their speed? They touched over 2,000 words per minute. So that underscored the point here that it is your strengths that you need to work on, then keep on working on your weaknesses in order to have the right kind of personality for the job at hand.
So in campus, campus interviews. So as a professor, how do you prepare your students to attend the campus interviews? What suggestions? How would you prepare your students to attend the campus interviews?
This is a question for academia.
Regarding this campus interviews, it all depends on students basically. If they have the interest in getting a job on the campus, if the company, which is coming on the campus, if they like the company, if they like the pay package of the company, then they will definitely come forward. So I think it all depends on the type of the company, the type of the pay package, because nowadays the students are more focused on the pay packages rather than anything else. So that is, I think, one thing. And regarding your previous question, I was thinking of there can be very small interventions. You see, sometimes we have this very small exercise known as the MILY, MILY, which is the most important learning of yesterday. You are talking of making the students make their stage fright go away, those things. So what we can do is, in every class, when you take a class, when the teacher comes on the very next day to take a class, he can ask any one of the students, or he can tell him a day in advance also, that tomorrow, before I start my session, you have to brief what I said yesterday. So he can take around 5 to 7 minutes, and he can just give the gist of what was discussed yesterday. So that is known as the milli. So with that thing, the person will be studying very carefully, and he will be making a presentation also. So when he comes, he makes a presentation for 5 minutes, 7 minutes in front of the class. So the stage fright goes away, slowly and gradually. So that can be a very small exercise, and you can keep on changing this milli, day in and day out. And you had certain questions in the very first question also. I was thinking of like you were talking of this syllabus coverage. You see, nowadays the entire mind of of a teacher in engineering colleges or in a polytechnic is on completing a syllabus basically. The completion of a syllabus is not necessarily by the teacher only, it can be done by the students also. So some of the portions of any curricula, say around 20%, 30%, which are not very tough. So we can give the assignment to the students. We can make a group of students. The students, they can study in a group, and then they can come and make a presentation in the classrooms. So some of the portion of the syllabus can be covered by the students also as a part of the curricula. So we have to complete the syllabus, but not necessarily by the teacher only. And if you see the management schools, basically, in management schools, you go to the IIMs, you go to even out of the country also. So there the professors, they give the assignments to the students. So they give the assignments, they make the groups, or they have certain criteria of making a group. The group sits, they do the brainstorming, they do everything, they prepare on that specific topic or specific assignment, and then they make a presentation in the classrooms. And if there are any any shortcomings, the professor, he or she can guide the students regarding this. So with this way, all the different concepts of brainstorming and all those making a presentation and the stage fright, etc. So a lot of things get covered up by this thing only. And even some of the problems from the society can be taken by the students. Let the students go to the society, and the people where they're living over there, so they can identify some of the problems from the society or from the industry, let us say nearby, and they can try to solve those problems. So that is how their higher order thinking skills, the hard skills, can be improved. I think that way also.
Thank you, sir. One question I would like to ask.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Sir, how can we collaborate with industry? Is there any government incentive or portal of government from where we can get industry collaborative for our programs, our industry trainings, etc. for the students?
I
Sir,
think you-
can you hear me?
Yeah, can you repeat the question, please?
yeah.
Can you repeat the question? Please speak slowly. Please
Sir,
speak slowly.
Sir, I want to know whether any government portal is there or any government initiative from where we can get collaboration from industry to our courses or curriculum or any kind of training for the students.
Well, I think the portal I'm not very much aware of, but we have something known as that apprenticeship. The apprenticeship boards basically.
Yes, sir.
Under the apprenticeship boards, they have a mandatory requirement that the industry has to come forward and give the like training to the students basically. And I think the sharing of the scholarship is also by the industry, by the academy, I suppose. So we have that national accreditation boards, in I think 5 states of the country. So that is, I suppose, one of them. But if you grow the industry as such, I suppose, I think they will never say no. It all depends on the, you see, when you talk of any industry, it's a partnership. The main problem is there's a lack of give and take, That is a major crux of the problem. We want to take something from the industry, but we never want to give back to the industry,
Okay.
So unless there is a proper give and take, it may not be 50-50%, it may be say 40-30-70%, So we have to give something back to the industry also. When there is no give and take, there the problem comes, If we can give something back to the industry, then they will come forward to help you also. But if you're always taking from the industry and not giving anything back to return to the industry, then there could be a problem, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on this as well. This is a very interesting topic close to our heart. In our company, what we do regularly is we have tie-ups with universities around this area. And let us say, for instance, students of computer science, a BTech degree computer science, we encourage them to spend the last year of their education in our company. So what that does is it gives them practical exposure to how the corporate world functions. That's one. They get an opportunity to interact during live projects with our clients that are usually based in the US. So that helps them to learn how to work in a cross-cultural environment. The third thing it does is it actually readies them to take up challenges and become industry ready after that 1 year of exposure in our company. So we do not expect that they would continue to work with us, although we would love that because we have invested time, effort, money on them. But we give them the freedom if they so choose that they would like to go to some other industry because of their hometown being somewhere else or some family pressure. So we are open to that idea. And we do this quite regularly. At any given time, if anyone were to visit our campus, they will find such students who are spending their last year of BTech in our company. And we have got reports and feedback from the places where they have got employment if they have gone outside our company, that the employers have been extremely delighted at how industry ready they were. And I'm sure all of us would agree that this is one of the problems which most companies face, that they are able to hire students from different institutions, but they find they are not industry ready. So there we work on their business communication, we work on their skills in the technical area. So that has been very successful partnership.
Sir, one more question. So supposing the fourth year students of our campus, they get campus selection. So many different companies come into the campus. So you will say from the same class, there one may be getting 2 lakh, one may be getting 40,000. So there is a salary hike. Does the student have any frustration? But they are all from the same campus. It happens. Many may go to multinational company. The student coming out from the same institute, for example, Technical Institute of Chandigarh. Last year students, some may get selected in a good foreign company, some may be getting in a local company. So how will the student face the challenge? They may be having some sort of frustration. My peer is getting more 2 lakh, some may be getting 3 lakh, I'm getting 30,000 in the local industry. So how can we overcome this?
Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I think the very concept of getting a higher pay package is again a misnomer, I suppose. Because when the student comes out of the portals of the college after doing his fresh BTech, the major focus should be on the learning basically. So whatever his interests are, so he can go to the respective industry where where actually he wants to work over there. That company may not be giving initially a very high salary, but if he learns the things over there, after 3 to 4 years, he can rise very high, in the later, very high in the ladder. So instead of focusing initially on the pay packages for the first 2 to 3 years, I always suggest that for the first 2 to 3 years, you can focus more on learning basically in the industry, in your respective area of your specialization or respective area of your preference basically. So let us not tell the students to look for the higher pay packages, because we have seen many students who went for the higher pay packages, but they were not satisfied with the working over there. So there's no point of that. So they can. Yeah.
But according to Indian society, parents start comparing, your son is getting this much, I mean, what is the effect on the student? I would like to ask. It normally happens. Regularly it's happening.
I think a lot of a major reason of the misery of the people are the comparison basically. We start comparing ourselves. That's a major problem. So I think every person has got a different specialization, different strengths. So depending on his preferences, depending on his aptitude, let him go to the specific work over there for 3 to 4 years. And then he can get a raise.
So in the fourth year, do you have any counseling session for the parent and the teacher interaction when the student is getting ready for the campus interviews? Do you invite the parents also to make them understand what is happening in the campus? Because this thing happens because in Indian society we have a very bad habit of comparing. One is getting more because it affects when the student goes home, the parents will start suppressing and comparing. Maybe teachers may not have this attitude, but the parents may suppress the students and start comparing, and the later stages he may have depression also. Many may don't get the jobs. So as a university, do you invite the parents also during the campus to make them aware? Different companies may be offering different salaries. So do you invite the parents in the session of the campus interviews? Do you have any session with the parent-teacher interaction and parent-teacher-student interaction?
I think we have taken your question already, madam. You see, the very concept of a grown-up child's, parents coming to the campus, it doesn't. I don't know. A BTech student of 20 to 23 years of age, he's bringing his parents, bringing his parents. It looks very, very awkward. I mean, if you compare our country with the other countries, there the parents are not coming to the campuses, for this purposes, So I think you can counsel the parents maybe a little before, you can call the parents, let us say collectively, and some of the faculty members from the institute, they can counsel them that let the child go as per his preference basically. So your preference is more important. I mean, his aptitude is more important and it's very important for him to go to the respective industry where his aptitude lies basically, rather than going for the pay packages. At least for the initial 2 to 3 years, I suppose.
Sir, I have a couple
Yeah,
of
please,
points.
please.
Ma'am, regarding the question about the kind of help they might get from the industry, I think every technical institute and maybe other colleges also, but mainly because I know about the technical institutes, they have a placement department, right? The job of the placement department is actually to go and talk to any given company and then actually only talk about placements. So normally, the discussions on placement they don't get through. So not many companies will be ready to actually visit the campus for placements. Let's say tier 2, tier 3 colleges, maybe every company will not be interested in them. I have a suggestion that there should be a corporate relation department in technical institutes. The role of that department should be only to build relationships with companies, not to talk about placements. Not to say that we have good students, we have bad students. This is the package we expect. Nothing like that. Only to build relationships so that companies might feel very comfortable. Coming to campuses, sharing their knowledge, and students can feel comfortable visiting those companies. Then the placement department can separately take up the topic of placements and all. And I have another suggestion regarding the software companies. Narendra ji's company and my company, we are a part of this Chandigarh NASSCOM chapter. So from that, I understand that NASSCOM's website, in case you visit their website, they already have, I think, the list of all the companies which you might find there firsthand, the software companies. And also they have detailed syllabus, which is the industry's perspective of what kind of syllabus should be there for the subjects we read for computer science. So you can find that syllabus from there, and maybe you can take some help or guidance from that syllabus, and make some appropriate changes to what type of teachings you people do in your campuses. So corporate relation department will help you a lot. This NASSCOM's website can give you quite some handy information to use. And one more point I want to add about personality development. See, I come from a technical background, so I generally give technical examples. So in the very first year of my job, I was told one simple thing, that to be able to write good code, you need to look at good code, right? So this is how we learn how to write good code. So if I keep looking at bad code, I'll never learn how to write good code. So I think personality development is almost on the same lines. So we need to give them examples, real world examples. So if we talk about personality development for students, I think the management, the faculty, they have to lead by example, right? So they have to set those kind of examples from which then they can give relevant examples to students and teach. So I think students, they learn more by looking than by classroom sessions and reading. So practical aspect can, I think, help improve this.
Today morning.
No, ma'am, we'll come back to you. We go to the next interface.
Okay, sir.
We'll come back to you.
Hello.
JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida.
Yes.
Come to you.
JSS Noida, please. Yes, you can put your questions, please. JSS Academy at Noida. Yeah, you can put your questions to this first.
Sir, this is Beena from Genesis College. Am I feasible to you?
You are audible. You are audible.
Noida वाला ही है, कोई JSS वाला ही है. Yeah. Please carry.
Yes, from JSS College.
We are getting your.
So the paradox of as we know this market scenario, there is a lot of paradox for higher unemployment and war for talent continuous. Like next year also, it is a strategy they have mentioned. Like it will be a war of unemployment and talent, freezing the students for the good companies. And also there is a worldwide educational institutions or with employees need. We keep on hearing, and as all the dignitaries there, you also said about employment and bridging the gap and all. Practical reality is students don't perceive that traditional education method drives job skills. University norms, as we are affiliated to universities, we have to stick on to the norms of the universities. going for last semester, as you said, 6 months internship, work on experience. How it is possible? Like how to motivate our students to be happy?
It's a very complex question.
Actually, I
सारा
think-
end to end इन्होंने सारा उसमें cover कर दिया. I before my panel members start answering, I just have one point to add to this, ma'am. We keep hearing about that colleges have to adhere to the norms of the university and they have to follow their framework. If you take my advice on this or my opinion on this, I feel the syllabus has absolutely no problems. Maybe 10-20% of the subjects are not relevant as of today, but still they help in creating the base for the students. On that base, then they can build up knowledge about the current skill sets which they need. So the problem is not the major problem is not with the syllabus or with what the university is doing, and I'm sure they are very learned people and they have prepared all these things by putting in a lot of thinking into that. The major issue is with the implementation, as we have in India with laws, right? The laws are there, but it's about the implementation. So I feel the implementation at ground level needs to be taken a look at, rather than questioning about that. Yes, you are right in saying that majority of your time goes into classrooms and other things, but the students, and Narendraji will agree with me, that students don't even understand the subject which they learned during their 4 years of, let's say, engineering. So there's a big question mark on why that happens, and it gets repeated over and over again every year, right? So the question is about the implementation. I think the syllabus and other things are quite well in place, at least 80-90%. So I think more of the brainstorming has to be done on the right implementation of these norms which university has. Sir.
And yes,
Yeah, and one of the things to add to what my good friend Ravinder just mentioned is that since the ultimate objective or the ultimate destination of any student is either getting into a job in some company or starting his own business. So let us look at the first scenario, that is getting into a job. So if a student is destined to go into a job, he needs to understand the needs, aspirations, expectations of the industry very clearly. And there are two approaches that can facilitate this kind of interaction. One is that we have been approached numerous times by some universities to help them prune their curriculum or add to their curriculum as per the changing norms or requirements of the industry, which we always are very happy to do, because see, we know that if we have to grow, if we have to perform and meet our bottom line needs, then we need to have good quality people who can work for us. And those good quality people will not appear out of thin air. They will be groomed in various institutions which are around us. So if we do not lend the support, or if we do not extend a hand of help and support, we cannot expect good quality people to come and work for us. Therefore, we cannot expect to grow in the long run. So what we do, and this is my suggestion to most of my friends in different industries and also in the academia, is that we help shape the curriculum to whatever extent it is possible. In certain situations, there are limitations. You cannot tamper with the curriculum at all. It is fixed and it has to change after 5 years or whatever time period. But there are certain universities which are free to make changes. Now, that is besides the point for the moment. But for the point of discussion, that is something which is very relevant. The industry should be invited to give their inputs about whether the curriculum that is being imparted or taught is up to date, is going to meet the need of the job market or not. The second thing that needs to be done is that experts from the industry should be encouraged to come and take lectures at various institutions. Now, what that does, it helps the people from the industry to be able to exchange their ideas and their views about the subjects that they are touching upon. And on the hand of the students, they are able to understand that what the industry actually wants and to what extent we are facing changes in technology. so that we don't have a situation in which that student, after coming out of an institute, spending 4, 5, 6 years, realizes that the industry has moved on with technology and whatever he knows is pretty outdated, and then he needs to brush up his skills and spend time and money on that. So we have found that this kind of a close interaction has been very helpful, and again revisit that concept in which I just mentioned to you, that we are very open to the idea of helping the academia, just because that is from where we get our future employees. It is in our interest to be able to do that, even if we have to ration our time from the activities in business.
Yes, please. Any other question from the same JSS Academy?
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Kamal, principal of the JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida. I also have my experience because I have been advisor in science and scientific industrial research before joining this institute. By seeing the content of this today's or rather your program, it is very clearly saying that what you want to make it is an effective IIP. With this effectiveness of the IIP, we can take it as like a bucket full of water. I have the bucket, that the institute have got the bucket. You at NIT and the panelists also try to bring that bucket below the tap. But if what happens if the tap is dry? Can we have the bucket full? Same scenario happening here, that industry people should be actually encouraged, rather the academics, that industry should come forward to have the projects and all the interactions were possible. Maybe because of the university, that the ministry has already imposed CSR, you are aware. Why not to give a credit of having industry come to the institution under CSIR? So they should not go for something else, rather improving the existing infrastructure and also the interaction of the industry with the institutions.
Sure. Would you like to comment on that?
Sir, I think, what you said is right, but let's say if a company from your nearby area wants to, let's say take up some project which they want to give to students, it's from both sides. You people need to generate that much of confidence for those companies to actually feel comfortable, bringing their projects. Because yesterday in my session, I mentioned that people from the industry, they are, we think in a time-bound fashion, right? So we are bound by deadlines. So we don't have open-ended projects. So from what I know from my experience and the kind of people I meet is that, industry people, the people from the, let's say the software sector, we don't feel comfortable with the skill set that we get from students, who are actually studying in colleges. So in case, I think, yes, what the ministry has done, it's a, let's say it's a good step. And if they are encouraging the companies to come forward, I think the colleges also need to, do some activities wherein they can actually show that, yes, they have students who are ready and they welcome the industry, right? So in case you join a gym, so the instructor will, first test your strength and only then give you that much weight, for exercise, right? So in case you have a strength to pick up maybe 10 kgs, so he might give you 8 kgs, right? So, first, I think the colleges, they need to do some exercises. These exercises can be like, having a blog portal where they might ask the students to write some blogs so that, the people from the companies can actually go visit those blogs and can see what kind of, knowledge or skill set students have. So these kind of things, I think, they need to be done so that the companies might find it mentally, they might feel confident that, yes, we can go there and the students can, work for us. I have an example to share. Quark in Mohali, they have this kind of a program in which they shake hands with the colleges, wherein their team members, the senior people from their company, they actually form teams of students and they get the projects done, the real projects done from students, right? So this way they help by giving a chance of leadership role to their own people also, and they give a chance to students also to work on real projects. So it's a two-way kind of a thing. So I think if colleges can start having these kind of exercises, and I think the corporate relation department, in case you can have in your college, can help build this connection between the companies and the colleges.
I agree what you said. I also like to share with you that recently we had the hackathon for IT information problems, and it was very successful, in which all the ministry and industries they came forward. Can we suggest NITTR just have a formulation of this kind of similar kind of hackathon, having the problem from various industries, and then maybe the problems can be imposed to all the institution together or maybe separately, so that that can be a showcase. It can become as a showcase to the industry.
This is a good idea, actually. So maybe collect all the, maybe have a single portal where companies can submit some of the projects, some of the ideas, and then students just pick up those ideas from that portal, and they might start submitting their solutions to companies. So this will only help build a trust relationship. I think there's a big gap, a trust deficit between the companies and the campuses. We want them to be working together, but actually they are not working together. So a central portal maybe where companies can submit ideas or projects, real projects, from where then campuses can take up those exercises, and some evaluation criteria wherein we might be able to rank the campuses, and the campuses which are ranking good on those criteria. So then definitely companies will feel happy to work with them, and it's in any case, sir, it will be cost effective also, right? Asking students to work with their teams, it will be hugely cost effective. So I mean, both parties will have to take steps on their sides.
Yeah, to add to what my friend Ravinder just said, I personally have this opinion that grooming our students who are our future workforce or future entrepreneurs, it is the responsibility of not only the academia, but equally of the industry also. The industry is always found to be talking about their bottom line and how it is so important to adhere to timelines and all that is very correct. But at the same time, unless we give the exposure and the chance to have the experience to the students, they will never come to that level of excellence that we expect from them. So one of the things that we are right now discussing on our drawing boards in our company is that to have the senior people, the senior employees of our company become mentors to groups of students in 4 different universities around us. Now, what that does, it helps the students to know that what is the latest technology that is being used nowadays, so that they come to know about the cutting edge methods. Secondly, like this concept, my friend Ravinder was also mentioning some time back, it helps our senior people to become better leaders, so that they learn that life is not only about taking a paycheck at the end of the month, but it is also giving back to the community. So helping the community is like one of the core values our company has amongst the other 4. So that is something very essential to understand, that we are already having this, and we also encourage the various colleges to hold various competitions, be it a competition about coding, be it a competition about thinking, speaking, about entrepreneurship. So different kinds of topics are chosen, and we do it very consciously. And what this has done is it has helped us to not only create a name for ourselves in the community here, but the actual motive that we had was to be able to have good quality people come to work for us. So we find now that people take it as a pride to work for our company because they have known us for quite some time. They know that we are serious about helping them improve. So these kind of initiatives are going on, whereas our company is concerned, and I would also extend the same invitation to other companies around us to do the similar kind of activities.
Okay, I think thank you so much. We go to the next center, I suppose. The next center is
City College.
City College at Jalandhar. Can we take some questions from City College, please?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, most of the queries, some of the queries are already common. We have already discussed about it. But I would like to ask about the industrial automation-based projects. we can, as we have already said, that projects which are some automation system is required in any industry.
I think your voice is not very clear. Can you speak a little? Please come close to the system or your laptop, and then you can speak from there because your voice is not very clear from here.
Okay, sir, I'm coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello.
There is no need of an external mic. You just use the laptop mic, please.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, audible.
Sir, actually, I would ask you, I want to know about the automation. Suppose some industry requires some automation system, which is suppose based on electronic projects, and students who can make those projects can be considered in the 6 months major project also. So, can we have some strategy to provide this list of requirements so that our students can work on that? And if it is required, if industry can help in monetarily, it will be also welcome. Because most of the students, they are financially not so good, so we can help them out there also.
I think they're talking about the automation projects and how can they bring those projects.
Both sides will be benefited by using this technique.
If I ask you a simple question, what kind of projects students take up for automation in your college? Let's say in the first 2 years. So what kind of projects do they take up? What kind of work are they doing in the campus itself? The practical work.
Like biometric sensors are there. All these things are, I know, already available, but it is totally indigenous product, and they are already doing a project on this. So most of the students in the very beginning, they were very much hesitating to start the project work due to the financial crisis. But our institution helped them financially also. But now they want to you can say introduce devices in the market, but they don't know how to introduce in the market. So if the industry is with us, then we can promote these projects to the industry, which will be beneficial for both the sides. Am I right, sir?
So if I'm understanding your question appropriately, what you are asking is that students, they have already worked on these projects. They want to know the approach or the methodology of how to take it to market. Is that your question?
Yes, sir. This is the second part of the matter. First part is we should at least know what are the requirements from the industry on which we can work on.
Okay, well, I mean, as far as the requirements from the industry is concerned regarding a particular project, I think there are a lot of sources from where you can pick up those kind of things. But the second part that you talked about, which is making it commercially viable, now that involves a lot of steps, and I don't think we have the time to talk about all the steps at this time, but all I can say is there are a lot of industry people who are available to mentor these kind of students who have good products and ideas, and they can help them go to the market with their products in the most viable manner. I mean, for instance, we had one function in our organization here in which we invited students to come out with their ideas of different projects or products, I would say. So we had them pitch. They got 5 minutes to pitch about their product, how they think it can help in the market, what is the demand like. And then after that, we chose a few of those who we found were actually commercially viable, and they received extensive mentoring in which they were explained that how to take it to market, what are the things they should be careful about, how to price it, and what terms of business they should have, how to form a company. All those things were discussed threadbare, because I do understand that at a student life, one does not have exposure to these things, and the industry is, I think, always very happy to help out in this case. And it all depends that when you approach the industry and you're open-minded and very positive about it, the industry also responds accordingly. This is my personal opinion.
In fact, recently, last week we had this one startup marathon. So the basic purpose was that the students have the certain projects. You can call you can call some people from the industry, from the banks, from different associations, basically, and then you can let the students interact with those panels, basically. And then those panels, they can guide those students, those who want to commercialize their technologies.
And regarding the requirements, yeah, sir, when we go through 4 years of computer science and engineering this stream, we actually have a subject called system analysis and design, so which actually talks about the best practices which we can follow for requirement gathering. I think I have a suggestion for your first question. In case you can first prepare your students, in-house on actually understanding the art of requirement gathering. So in case they can learn, what kind of questions they should be asking, so that when they go and meet people from the industry, they can actually ask them the right kind of questions and they can get the right kind of answers. So that, if let's say you will prepare 5 teams of 5 students each, and you ask for, let's say, 50 companies for a time for a meeting, so each company will give you not more than, let's say, 1 or 2 hours of their time. So if the students are ready with these kind of skills, they can go interact with the people from the industry. They can ask what kind of requirements they can have. So if the students are already ready with this kind of a mindset, I think they can start visiting the companies and they can talk to the people. So I'm saying this from my experience when I was in Gurgaon back in 2007. So one of the colleges from Jalandhar, so their TPO, he visited our company there in Gurgaon with 5 students. So they were dressed very professionally. They came, they spoke to the point, and we actually felt that yes, the whole conversation was very meaningful. So this exercise can help groom students also, and then students interact with the companies and get the requirements and then start working on them. And the second part, Narendraji already answered, I think.
Another thing can be in that before, when we start with any session in the morning, maybe mechanical engineering, electronics or electrical, it can be we reserve initial 5 or 10 minutes for a presentation from the student. For example, if you have gone through any website, any trade-related journal, or maybe newspaper, or searching over the different sources available, secondary sources, and you can come up with a 5-minute brief presentation, what is away from the subject, where it has to be implemented. For example, one of my teaching experiences at one of the colleges, one person used to carry a electronics foil, and he used to always carry that EF5. And one time he asked me a question, so you have taught us for Fourier series and Fourier transform, and where it is to be applied. So I asked him to come to me, my office room. He came and I asked him, you have EF5. I scrolled down, there was a 1 TV remote circuit over there. So I asked him, have you replicated this TV remote circuit? Have you tried to replicate that model in your lab, so that can you innovate or improve the performance or come up with a new remote that is better in efficiency and performance than this remote? So automatically we went to the market to identify the components. He got to know how to negotiate where for an IC of say 2 rupees is charged for rupees 100 if you do not have a knowledge. But if you have a knowledge, you can get it for rupees 1 or 2 or rupees 3. So what happens over there is that we have to have our 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the start of the session from presentation from the students what they wish to contribute towards the application of that subject, utilization of this. That can be another thing if you,
Hello.
you do not have that much time.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. We are from Gandhi Engineering College, Odisha, Bhubaneswar. Good afternoon to all dignitaries over the dash. Sir, first of all, we partially agree all of us a big gap between industry and academic institutions, because when we have going through syllabus of academically, it's a very difficult to find out that industry touch, so that the students at the end of final year or at the end of or exit of the BTech degree, they are very difficult to acquainted with the industry pattern, because though they are not touch with the industry any type of intensive or any type of programs in their curriculum, so it's a very difficult to even also getting a job in case of placement. So, one entrance exam for all JEE main students, like for engineering, for medical, can we go for one syllabus where that industry stakeholders or some academician, good academician from IIT, NIT, they have set that syllabus where a final touch of gap industry touch should be there, so that the industry also forcefully to collaborate with education MHRD department to set up a policy regarding internship for students, because in India different designated colleges should be there, maybe NIT, IIT, or deemed university, or maybe autonomous college, where all the engineering colleges are not getting facility regarding internship, because when the students apply for internship program with a different industry, they are asking for accreditation like NBA, NAAC accreditation. So it's more difficult for some part of colleges where the students are even also good and having scoring of BTech also good, but they are not able to because of the college accreditation process. So can this type of problems to be minimized and go for a common policy, so that industry and institute partnership will be more better in India through either AICT or through any governing board like NIT Chandigarh, if initiative, if any type of institution where leading institute of India should be leading over this type of program, then it's a good sign for the students.
It's a very big question, right? Maybe a change at the level of the government policy or any other thing. I think I have one point to make, sir, here. See, from my experience, I know that the colleges, they look at the industry as one big chunk. So they'll say software industry, right, or mechanical industry. So what is important is that you need to understand that you cannot prepare students for the industry. You can prepare students for the skills, right? So if you start focusing on making students skill ready or job ready rather than making them industry ready, because industry ready is a huge concept, right? If I have 10 years of experience in software sector, even I'm not ready for every kind of a job that people might be doing in the software sector. So I think few things you can do at your level which might help you then have a good relationship with companies outside. One is if you can identify the type of skills required in the industry for every sector, for software, for mechanical, for electrical, have a set of skills or set of jobs, the type of jobs that people do in those sectors. Have an orientation program with students so that students understand that a software team is made up of so many different kind of skill sets. There are people who are needed for requirement gathering. There are people who are needed for testing, analysis, design, coding, implementation. There are 7, 8, 10 different skills which are required. So in case students can be made aware of these kind of skills, it will help them identify what kind of strengths they have which can help them fit into that particular skill. So I know one of the one of my old team members, that girl was very good with programming, but she said the very first day she joined, she said she feels more comfortable with testing. I said, you are a programmer, I know you'll be a very good tester in case you choose this kind of a role, but are you sure you want to be into testing? She said yes, and she turned out to be an extremely good software tester, just because she knew what her strength was. So if students can be given that kind of breakup of skills, and can be prepared for those skills, then you can present a consolidated report to companies and say that, okay, we have 100 students, out of those 10 are ready for this kind of a job, 10 are ready for this kind of a skill, and that will help companies understand what they can get from you. What I see is that colleges, they go to companies and they say that we have extremely good students, we want you to come and have a placement drive in our college. I mean, that conversation is not very lucrative from the the company management's perspective, because they don't want to spend time digging into each and every student and understanding what the strengths and weaknesses are. So this is something which you can do at your level. And I think Director Sir from Tech, on the very first day of Manthan event, so he mentioned that the government of India has this SWAM portal where they can find courses from even IIT faculty members. Their courses are present, and I think every IIT has their own portal where they record and put these courses. But the second part that you were talking about, actually having kind of a policy or a central institute leading, and I mean that's out of the domain of what we people do. This is something which colleges like or institutions like NIITR can propose to the government. But at the college level also, there can be so many things which can be done for preparing these students for the industry. So identify these skills, let students know what kind of skills are required, and help them prepare for those skills, rather than looking at industry as one big thing.
Yeah, and to add to that, like I was talking some time back, that the strength analysis of each student is very essential. And what I was alluding to is a very scientific approach, which probably whenever we get a chance next time we can talk extensively about it, that helps each of your students to know which kind of career stream they should be pursuing, even like within the IT industry. Like my friend Ravinder very clearly mentioned, that there are different kinds of skill sets that are required. So knowing their strengths, because each kind of activity requires a different kind of personality and a mindset. So that helps a lot. Like I said, once they have the strengths approach, so we can talk more about it, I think, on some like future date. At the present moment, like whatever Ravinder has explained is very, very pertinent. And like you rightly said, the question that you posed about the central government or the state government doing something about it, that is something which is beyond our purview at this time.
Thank you, sir. Sir, another professor should be sharing his experiences about the industry and institute partnership.
Yeah, okay. Just one more please from your center, because we have to proceed further also.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, in our BPUT syllabus, our university syllabus, latest syllabus is 8th semester, and 8th semester only for projects only. That is an industry-oriented project. Student will go for outside means industry interaction, and they will do the project. And institute will give 500 marks, and industry people will give 500 marks evaluation mark. So what are the best policy you can adapt to implement how the grading facility and how the evaluation procedure must be there through institute level as well as industry people, how they will interact with the student, and how will create a policy for evaluating?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer about how we do at the industry level very easily. What happens is the 6 months, like you mentioned, sir, we are dividing that into 2 quarters, the timeline, and in each quarter we do the performance review of each of the intern twice a quarter. So which means that in the entire timeline of 6 months that you were referring to, we would have done the performance review 4 times, and this performance review is not only done by the people who are the supervisors, but also by their peers. So that helps us in being able to award the right kind of credits, or should I say the marks, to the student, like whenever that is required. So I mean, I would not know how the The academia does it, but this is my answer from the industry side.
Okay.
Sir, I can add to what Narendraji just said. Narendraji spoke about how they, as a company, they evaluate students. My college, when we were for our internship, so they follow a certain practice. I think if you are not already following that practice, maybe that practice can help you also. We have a faculty member visit us in whichever company we are 3 times in a semester. So the very first time they visit is almost like after 1.5 month of the start of the internship. The goal of that visit is to come and understand what kind of task are we working on, right? So they make a note of it, and they talk to the talk to our seniors in the company. They talk to us and they can make a note of it. Second time, again 1.5 month later, they again visit. Now, because they already knew what kind of work we were doing, so then they come and again evaluate us and ask what kind of work we have done in the past 1.5 months. And then the last evaluation is a presentation which, let's say, we have to give in our college. So those teachers who visit us, then they update the panel on the previous 2 visits, and they tell that, okay, this was the task, so this was the progress made in first 1.5 month, and this was the progress, let's say, made in the next 1.5 month, and then they evaluate the whole presentation from that perspective. So this helps solving many problems. Like you cannot have students who are just roaming around for 6 months and they come to the college with a presentation of just whatever project they feel like. So students are very serious about their work, just because they know that every 1.5 month, whatever progress they are making, it will get documented somewhere. So I think this can help the faculty keep a check and put some pressure on students to be serious for those 6 months.
And I think once they come back from the training, they have to submit a training report also.
Yes.
So
and it has to match with whatever
that's right.
faculty evaluators.
Okay, thank you so much. We go to the next center, please. The next center is CGC Landra, please.
Chandigarh Engineering College, Landra.
Chandigarh Engineering College, Landra.
Are we audible, sir?
Yeah.
So, rather, I should say question. We have a query that for the 4 years, the student go through the curriculum of engineering, and at the end of 4 years, the student is evaluated by industry and told that you are not employable. That should it not be something different, that while going through engineering degree for 4 years, while the university is evaluating the student, the industry should also be involved in evaluating the same in process, like after every semester exams, the questions or the papers are set by the university. Should it not be a process that industry should also be involved in setting all the evaluating processes that are carried out by industry as well as the companies also?
I would agree with that. That's a very good point. It is actually easily said than done. But like I told you some time back, that in our organization, we have this mentorship programs for students. So our senior employees who are at the team lead level, they get assigned with a certain group of students, and they help them throughout their education. We actually start this from the second year onwards, and they are with the students throughout those second, third, and fourth year. And like I said, with some universities, we have a tie-up at the final 4th year is spent entirely in our like company office itself, where they get hands-on practical training. So what that does, it actually does away with this result, which you just very rightly said, that after going through 4 years of education, a student has to make this comment that they are not employable. So in order to do away with that situation, we have this very close interaction with the industry. So this is how we do it, and I'm not like very well aware that how other companies are doing it, but we have found this to be very successful.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I think we can take some more questions from the CGC Landra.
Any other query from your side?
No more questions?
No more questions, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Center, please. The next center is MS Baroda. MS Baroda, please. MS University Baroda. You can put questions or queries or questions, you know.
They have a big classroom.
Yeah.
Very good afternoon to the panel and everyone involved in this.
Yeah. Good afternoon. My request is, please, you can sit down and you can keep a certain distance from the mic. You know, if you keep on changing the distance, then the voice clarity goes away.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. See, my field is like mechanical metallurgy. I am from the mechanical metallurgical side. We should also recommend student to go for the certified course like NEET level 2. That kind of courses can also be benefited to the students.
I think your voice is not very audible. Can you keep a certain distance from the mic, please?
Hello?
You can come close to the laptop or the system. Basically, you can speak from the laptop or the system's mic, you know, instead of using external mic, and keep a certain specific distance, you know. If you keep on, you know, changing your position, then there's a lot of, you know, voice unclarity basically.
Hello, am I audible, sir? Now?
It is a distortion is there.
You can speak a little slowly so that we are able to properly hear you, I suppose.
Sir, my point is like we should also focus on the certified courses, like 1 year certified course, NDT level 2, ISNT. Like that can also be beneficial to the student.
Can you type your query in the chat box on the top left corner, first option of the window?
You can type your question in the chat box and then you can onto your question, please, because the voice is not very is very high, but it is not clear. That's the problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now it was okay, I suppose.
And now when the man speaks.
So I think when the lady speaks, it's not clear again. I think it's typing. I suppose. Question. Type कर.
Display.
Okay. तो आपको कहाँ display करोगे इसको?
नहीं वो हम repeat करते हैं.
अच्छा. अच्छा.
Sometimes telecall से भी मिल जाए.
अच्छा. अच्छा.
से भी मिल जाए.
I think he's done with the question, I suppose.
So can I do extend the ready in the meantime?
Catch it? Huh?
RT code.
Okay, we can take the RTA quota for the timing, I suppose. We'll come back to the MS University.
Sir, we have typed the question in the chat box.
Yeah, we will get your questions in a little while. Please just wait for some time. We are going to RTA quota now.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
RTU also has put in chat.
No. MS की बात कर रहे थे. RTU, are you putting your question? Are you, asking your questions or putting it on the chat box? RTU quota, please.
And their mic is not. The mic is not working.
Huh? Well, we can see, but we are not.
Sir, am I audible to you?
Yeah, now it is okay. Please carry on.
Sir, this is Monica Dubey. I'm faculty in the MBA department here at RTU. My question is this, that in our MBA curriculum, there is a provision of 2 months of summer training curriculum. Students readily go to a company to get summer training with the purpose to learn something. But it is seen and it is observed, maybe it's my personal observation, that the student doesn't learn anything over there. He goes for 1 or 2 days. Thereafter, the personnel at the company itself says that he would need not to come over here because we are extremely busy. We cannot offer you something which you need over here. This is something to be learned at your college itself. So how do you think this industry and institution interaction would be fruitful with this attitude of the industry?
Okay, your question is that.
Ma'am, what I would like to say here is that we cannot generalize from some experiences about the entire industry. We have also heard same kind of complaints from students, from universities, that when their students go to these companies, like you were saying, that the companies say, we are awfully busy, we do not have time to teach you all of these things, so you should better learn these things at your university or institute. But that is not the case with each and every company. So, I mean, in my opinion, it is very essential that when you are selecting the company to partner with, you need to do your due diligence very, very carefully from the past record of the company. That is one. Secondly, as in the past, my friend Ravinder ji has been talking about a very important point, which is that any company is usually focused on their profit and loss. They are usually wanting to engage in activities which are building towards their profitability. That is why we often hear these kind of situations. But at the same time, there are companies in this society which are focused towards the betterment of the students. I'm again repeating myself. We are aware that these are the students who are going to be our future employees. So if we are not entertaining them, if we are not imparting the necessary training to them, we are doing a disservice to ourselves. Now, this is a matter which the companies should introspect and find out that which are the organizations which are giving these kind of comments to the students and thereby discouraging them to go for internship. Because I personally feel this is very disheartening to learn that when a student eagerly steps out and thinks that he will get an exposure of the corporate culture and he will then be able to be a much better fit in his future job, when he is told this kind of a thing. So, I mean, while I completely sympathize with what you said, but I would again request you, ma'am, that we can't generalize this by saying that all the companies are doing this. There are companies which are genuinely helping the students.
Then I have a few points to make for your question. See, the problem which you are mentioning, it actually exists, and we all know that it exists. What I have seen is that this problem only exists where the institution is not putting in efforts in building relationship with companies. So, what happens is you give a form to the students and you ask the students to fill that form, write the name of the company and submit that, okay, this is the company where I'll be going for internship. Now, students don't have that much, those many skills to build a relationship with the company. So they might ask their cousins, their seniors, and they might just get a name of some company and submit to the campus. Now, when they actually show up in that company for internship, they are not ready to accept that student because maybe they were not planning to have any interns or something. So an easy solution for this problem is that the campus, the institution should put in efforts to build a relationship with companies so that and when I say relationship with companies, this does not mean institutes which actually charge students for their training, right? So the majority of the colleges, they just spend their efforts on relationship with institutes, wherein then students have to pay, and then they don't want to pay, they waste all their training time. So building a healthy relationship with companies can help mitigate this problem. So from my experience back in when I was in my engineering, one of the companies that visited our campus and they took 6 students for the internship program, and later on, a couple of months into the training, students understood that the kind of training which is being given to them is not what was promised. So me being the head of my branch for that particular year, so it was reported to me. I reported it back to my college. Next day morning, 9 a.m., our placement head and our training head from my branch were sitting there, in that company, and they said that our students are not here to waste their time, right? So if you have these kind of relationships where the senior people from the college can intervene, at these problems can be solved. But at the very first step, the campus has to actually build relationship with companies. Don't just ask students to give some names for internship and submit the form. I think these are the particular cases wherein students don't get real internship. They just get a certificate at the end of the whole training.
I think the question is very well answered. So can we take? Okay. Do we have one more question from the same?
RTU, Rajasthan Technical.
Okay. Thank you so much. We have not yet received the question from the MS University Baroda, so I'll request them to please send the question again on the chat box because it is so far it is not been received.
The MS University Baroda.
MS University Baroda, we have not received your questions.
Can you attempt it back? Maybe voice may be clear. No?
Can you try?
Yeah, just giving the question, just 2 minutes.
Okay, I think so. Now we were getting your voice.
Well, sir. Very good afternoon to one and all. Actually, the suggestion was like we should also focus on some certificate course, like level 2. It will be very useful to student apart from the regular academics.
Sir is asking about the certification courses,
okay,
for which students go, and are they actually helpful to students or not? Sir, is this your question? You're asking about the certification courses and do they help students or not?
That is what I am saying. Kind of services can be very useful to the student when they exposed to the industry. Like from the academics, when they go to industry, that kind of certificate courses are very beneficial to them.
No, I think
it's not. It is not audible.
It's not audible. Your question is not very audible.
You have to type only. Okay, then you just try to type in the chat box.
Please try to put it in the chat box and then we will respond to your question,
okay.
Please.
Now we move on to the next college. That is Anand International College of Engineering, Jaipur.
Yeah.
Anand International College of Engineering. Are you with us? Anand International College of Engineering, Jaipur.
जो अब देखो कौन सा रहेगा इसको, ये तो हो गया ऑलरेडी। नहीं हो गया। हाँ जी मोहना, कौन सा कार्य कनेक्ट करा? विद्या कॉलेज कर दीजिए।
चलो विद्या कॉलेज कर दो। विद्या कॉलेज ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग मेरठ, उत्तर प्रदेश।
विद्या कॉलेज ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग मेरठ, देखना कनेक्ट हो रहा है।
सर ये आरटी कोटा से है।
आरटीओ कोटा का तौर पे हो चुका है।
सर क्वेश्चन
तो मैं इसका हम वेट कर लेते हैं। क्या क्वेश्चन क्या है?
My point is we should also focus on the certified courses like NDT level 2 apart from the regular academic courses. Thank you.
So he's saying that certification courses are helpful to students. So campuses should also be focusing on certification courses.
Suggestion is basically what to do.
But the time that goes into the certification courses, I don't think colleges can actually afford to spend that much time. Right? They are so bound with their own curriculum.
Completing their curriculum. Right. That's right.
That's right.
Okay. Now we move on to the Government Polytechnic College, Hisar. They are with us.
Hello sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
सर मेरा एक क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है, मैं एक बेसिक सी मैं चीज पूछना चाह रही थी आपसे कि जैसे यू आर द ओनली इंस्टीट्यूट विच इज प्रोवाइडिंग टेक्निकल ट्रेनिंग टू द टेक्निकल टीचर्स. सो माय कंसर्न इज रेगुलरली वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडस्ट्री एंड इंस्टीट्यूशन पार्टनरशिप related to the students, but what I feel is that when the teachers are not industrially trained, how can they teach the students? So what my concern is, can you accommodate or can you provide us some facility so that we can go to the industry once a year to see what is the latest developments and accordingly we can teach our students?
I think we can do that. That's not a problem. I suppose we have been training. We have been providing training the teachers also in our class. So if there is any requirement of the training of the teachers in the industry, we can do that. There's no problem.
You have to do
Yeah.
Sir, I have
please.
this question also. Ma'am, you need to like in yesterday's session, I said that in case you can build some relationship with companies and ask your teachers to spend 1 week, with that company, sitting with their team, and then pass on that knowledge back to students. In one of the, we have in Chandigarh, this NASCOM group, we have breakfast meetings every month. So I think the second meeting was hosted by one college from Jalandhar. So at the end, they asked all the members present there, they said that, is there a possibility that, if our faculty members, they want to come and spend time with your teams so that they can get real exposure. And I think almost every company sitting there was ready with that, yes, we are ready to accommodate your faculty members, because it's a kind of one is to many benefit. So you just train one teacher and then he or she can go back and pass on that same knowledge to hundreds of students. I think we don't get answers to questions that you ask. So you need to go and ask companies. I'm sure there are so many companies which love to shake hands with you and accommodate your teachers and can actually make them work with their team and get exposure.
I have two more observations. I think in the very first session which I had taken in the training program, I was saying that there is no industrial training of teachers policy at either the national or at the state level. That means the training for the students is mandatory in the industries, but training of the teachers, is not mandatory. And many of the teachers, they have joined this teaching profession without any industry experience. So I was saying that there should be a training policy at the national level. In fact, I was talking to the vice chairman of the ACT also, Dr. M.P. Punia, and I think they're in the process, I suppose, that let every teacher go to the industry, say for a month or 2 months or 3 months, depending upon the seniority, of course, once in 3 to 5 years, because unless the teacher goes to the industry, unless the person spends some time in the industry, he is not very confident to go to the industry, and that is the reason that the training of the students is also suffering, Now, regarding your this specific query regarding help of the NIT, you're always welcome. But my only question is that if you want us to train arrange the training for you, I think you should try to arrange it for yourself basically, because if you go to the industry, in nearby your place basically, try to make some relations with them, and then you can send the people, the teachers to the industry over there, and then you can make the relations also, because normally what we do is we are trying to put it to some other person, that let some other person arrange the things for us, and then we can go and we can conduct the training over there. So it's better to go to the industry yourself, all the teachers there, you can have some people who are like coordinators, they can go to the industry, spend some time over there in the nearby, let us say Hisar, you're in Hisar basically, and then you can arrange the training of the teachers first over there, say for some time, and then you can make some relations over there, because once you're in the industry for say a month or so, or let us say for a week or so, and then you can send your students also simultaneously later on.
But sir, without the departmental approval, because we are a government institution, we are not able to go for the trainings and all that. Until and unless NITTT approve it, we are not authorized to go somewhere or do something like this.
Well, I think we are not the approving authority. I suppose your director of technical education, your DT is the approving authority basically. You can talk to the DTE of our in a policy that all the technical teachers of, let us say, Haryana have to mandatorily go for some training for 1 month or let us say 15 days, once in 3 or let us say once in 3 basically. And if there is a training level, then I think there's no mind, there's not a problem, I suppose.
Fine, sir. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir, please.
I have a point to add to that. I also mentioned in my yesterday's session, and I see across colleges and other institutions, education institutions, they're not making use of technology, for training purposes. Like, there's no college is putting an effort in, collecting their technical knowledge and showcasing it on their blog. But all the companies, they have their own blogs. They have so much content which they push on the internet. And in case you are saying that you, let's say you need some approval for going for those trainings, I think online trainings like the one session which we are having, there's no foundation on having these sessions, and I don't think companies will mind, or industry experts will mind, talking to your faculty members sitting from their own office. So the use of technology has to be made. Like companies, they invest so much into technology. They have their portals, they have their blogs. They keep grooming their team members by making use of technology. They use Twitter, they use LinkedIn, they create connections and all these things. So I think if you start investing your time and energy into technology, that can also help a lot. So you can find the blog articles by team members from all the companies. You can read them, get some knowledge, pass on that knowledge to students, ask students to do the same research, or write articles on the same topic. I mean these things can help, and they don't need approval, they don't need traveling, they don't need wastage of time over phone calls and all other things. So maybe this suggestion can help.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
MS University has sent a suggestion. Basically, it's not a question, I suppose.
Sir, we don't have any query. It was just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Saying that certification courses can also help for making students learn better industry.
Okay, I think since your voice is not very audible, let me read a suggestion to all the centers particularly. Mona, can you read the suggestion?
My point is, we should also focus on the certified courses like MBA level 2 apart from the regular courses.
So his suggestion was that instead of
We should also focus on the certified courses like
Okay.
MBA level 2.
so you can also focus on the certified courses like NDT level 2 basically, in addition to that industry training like that. So I think that suggestion is good, I suppose, but of course depending on your time availability also, because it is covering a lot of syllabus as a part of your thing. So if the time permits, the students can also undergo some of the additional courses also.
Also from our side.
Okay. पहले थे हमारे साथ में ना, हाँ अभी नहीं है तो देख लो क्वेश्चन है तो पहले क्वेश्चन वैसे कनेक्टेड है वैसे अच्छा आनंद इंटरनेशनल जो है
Sir, you are connected with us?
Okay.
Okay, following. And any questions from your center as of now? If it is there, you can put it through phone also. That's it. It's done.
Okay, thank you. I think we had a suggestion from here. Yeah.
Actually, sir, there may be a common platform for all the industries for showcasing their job to the students. Actually, the students is confused by some placement agencies or consultancies for offering them job, and there may be a false about getting the job.
I think that is where the role of the training and placement officer comes into being, I suppose. You have a training and placement cell over there. So I think if the teachers are dead committed, I mean that's my perception. You may not like it to listen. If the teachers are, let us say, very well dedicated and committed, I think none of the students he can remain unemployable, I suppose. So let the concerned training and placement cell, duly assisted by the concerned departments, so let them take that call on that issue, so that am I right or am I wrong?
And the relationship between institutions and companies, it has to be built at multiple levels.
Yes.
So the only relationship we see is that the college is interested in placements. So they'll go to, let's say, Narendra Ji's company and say, we want you to visit our college for placements. He'll say, okay, what kind of skill set you have? Oh, we have good students. Why? Because the training placement officer himself is not aware of what kind of skills the students they possess. Many years back, I was sitting with one of the training placement officers from a college under PTU. He, made a joke and he said that, he said the first day I came for my job as a TPO, I was not even aware And it took me 1 month to actually understand the difference between computer science and IT. So he said I was confused. So they brought the file of computer science students, and I did whatever I had to do. 1 week later, they'll bring the file of the IT student, and I'll say कि नहीं, last time तो मैंने कर दिया sign, right? So they don't possess that kind of understanding themselves, which they can then talk to the companies about. So the relationship between colleges and companies has to be at multiple levels.
Yeah.
It should not be that you'll go there for placements, they'll say no, and you'll not talk to them for anything else. So if we build this kind of a relationship, then companies can come forward, share their knowledge, and the TPO department can then have enough information which they can pass on to students. Only then can students get safety from all these things. But what you're saying is absolutely right. I see students getting emails, itna dalo, isme account mein you'll get this offer letter. So the only way to safeguard is to give them good and correct knowledge to the TPO department.
Emails we are getting, and they are telling us to sign up, and after sign up, what actually going on? We have to subscribe their email.
See what happens is, let's say one student gets an email from company A, second student gets an email from company B. Colleges are not putting in effort, not using technology to document these things, right? So if they have a common portal, one student gets such an email, he reports to the TPO department, they put an advisory on their portal. If all the students, they get a notification. So the use of technology can help safeguard from all these things. If we are not connected, then one of the students will definitely fall into the trap.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much for a wonderful discussion. So before we close the session, based on only two issues, based on the presentations during the first and second day afternoon by the institutions, I had made certain directive agenda to be discussed upon. So I feel so most of them are touched upon. So out of them, I feel so two are left that I would like to request the panel to deliberate upon. First one is the effective implementation of MOUs among academic institutions and companies. So many times it is normally seen that institutions sign MOUs with industry and industry sign MOU with institutions, but it is remains only to be a kitty to be shown to the other companies or to be put on the website that we have signed MOU with so and so industry, but on the ground actually it is not contributing that to that level that should be. So what can be the inputs from your side that so that we can make such kind of MOUs workable one and truly contributing one?
Yeah, so in order to answer this question, let us begin with a question. What is the main objective of signing an MOU?
It is a win. It has to be a win-win situation for both the academics and industry.
Okay. Right. So when we sign an MOU, we are kind of collaborating with each other's strengths. So the academia is saying that we would want that we would be able to produce the kind of students that the industry wants. So what are your requirements? What do you need? So they try their best to produce students of those kinds. Industry, on the other hand, says that we will absorb your students, we will train your students, we will give them internships and things like that. Now, what happens? The entire ecosystem is always in a flux. Every industry is being approached by numerous institutions. Similarly, every institution is like looking out to other companies also. So the lack of commitment on solid ground is absent somewhere, which is why it is the race to sign more and more MOUs instead of focusing on some quality terms and conditions to be fulfilled. So in my opinion, how we do it is, when we decide to work with 3 or 4 universities, for that particular year, we stop looking at any other institute. So we focus on them only. And like my friend Ravindra has been saying very, very correctly, that it is important to build bridges between the institute with which you are working or like with the university with which you are working. And those bridges can be built at various levels. It is not only about absorbing students, things like that. For example, in order to have regular interaction, we always encourage that our employees should visit the institute or the university, our employees should play some kind of matches with the teams of various universities, not only the student but also the faculty. In fact, to a case in point is that our company has a running cricket cup that we offer, and we have like matches regularly. So this is just to try to build bridges, that we are always aware that yes, we have signed an MOU with this particular university or institute, so we should keep thinking about them. We should try to help them with their curriculum. We should try to help them in mentoring their students, because like I again repeat, at the end of the day, the people who are studying there, students who are studying there, are the future employees of the companies in the ecosystem. No company can exist on a very individual basis. We are all part and parcel of the same ecosystem. If 5 companies fail and I feel that I will gain from that, that is a short-term view of things. So this is how I feel we should be regularly in touch to make sure that we are following up on the terms and conditions and the caveats that we have agreed upon in the MOU.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful.
And I think sometimes we keep the MOUs too general, I suppose.
That's it.
If we can focus on 1 to 2 things only, instead of having a very long list of activities under that MOU,
True.
then we can also be more successful in implementing those MOUs.
Very good point.
Okay, thank you. And another issue that needs to be taken up is that industry's involvement in research and development activities by academic institutions. So when it comes to the level of sharing of intellectual property rights, so many times it has been seen that industry is very much specific, that they wish to hold the IPs associated with the R&D activity. So can't it be in such a level that it is shared with the institutions also?
Would you like to comment on that?
I have very less knowledge about intellectual property rights, although we had a subject for 6 months in our college. So we understand the terms and all other things. But from my very personal experience with one of my teachers, who has 3 patents in his name, see, it's about the idea, right? So when the idea originates at some level, so the person who, and this is what his view is on patents and on research. So he tells me that the person who actually looks at that idea inside his head is the one who is in the best position to work towards the completion of that kind of a goal. So in case we are talking of these intellectual properties shared or due let's say due kind of so if the college wants our name should be mentioned on that patent, so they need to understand what kind of efforts are they putting in. Are they the originators of the idea? Are they the ones who are just doing some normal stuff which maybe the company would not want to put their own employees on? So the amount of like we have a saying in Punjabi ki jinna gud paunge unna mitha hoga. So the amount of effort they put in, only then they can ask. And I'm sure people in the industry are not unreasonable. So in case the institution comes up with an idea, the students are working day and night on that idea, and the industry people are just helping them with their research and all. So they'll be more than happy to have their name on the intellectual property and also their own name. But if the idea comes from the industry, they are spending their own energy on money into that, and students are only assisting with few simple things, then it might not be possible for. But at the end I would only say that people from the industry are very, very reasonable. So they as Nandaji rightly said, that we all know that what we are getting from these institutions is what will fuel our companies in future, right? So in case we in case we start becoming unreasonable, so we'll actually burn these bridges, right? So institutions should actually try to be the originators of the idea and start doing the core work on those ideas by taking the help from the industry. I think that way this relationship will be much more stable as far as the intellectual property is concerned.
And also, depending on the kind of patent we are talking about, in certain situations there are the need and requirement of using very high level, very expensive apparatus or equipment. if the universities are open to the idea of asking the industry people or the person who is working on that idea to use their facilities, then like surely definitely there is a good scope of partnering in the patent exercise.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful discussion.